Another Hollywood bombshell. The comedian Louis C.K. has been accused by 5 women of sexual misconduct. The allegations were reported by the New York Times, and now the distributor of his new film, Daddy, I Love You, has abruptly canceled the premiere due to unexpected circumstances. Well, they may be unexpected to his distributor, but for those of us familiar with Louis C.K.'s career, it was totally expected. As with Harvey Weinstein, there were whispers in the media about C.K.'s sexual misdeeds for years. Remember his stand-up routine and tweets about Sarah Palin and her special needs child in 2010? With misogynistic glee, he ridiculed Palin's body parts and her, quote, and I hate reading this, but this is what he said, retard baby. To give you some insight into the depravity of Louis C.K.'s mind, this is one of the cleaner tweets I can read. He said, people think that Sarah Palin is really mean, but she has a family of Chinese poor people living in her hole. Sorry, it got even more vile from there. I can't read anymore. Despite knowing all of this sordid and sick comments Louis had made about Sarah Palin, Jay McMichael, the 2012 chair of the Radio and Television Correspondents Association, invited him to headline the group's dinner. It's this hoity-toity deal in Washington. He defended his decision to invite the comedian, telling Politico, it gives the dinner a bit of an edge. It shakes it up a little, which is what we wanted to do. One of our goals was to make it not so stuffy an evening. Louis C.K. fit the bill when it came to that. Yeah, he fit the bill all right. Greta Van Susteren, then at this network, boycotted the dinner, and she correctly called him out. She called out Louis and called him a pig. Greta wrote on her blog, I refuse to show any support for this guy, and I think the organization that hired him is just as bad as he is. It's no secret that he denigrates women. Within days, Louis dropped out of the dinner. Though the Radio and TV Correspondents Association didn't rescind their invite, he dropped out. Greta was right. Louis C.K. had denigrated women and children for years. The man is a total degenerate. Here's a sample of his sterling work.
There's no worse life available to a human than being a caught child molester. From their point of view, it must be amazing for them to risk so much. How do you think I feel? It's my last show, probably. If somebody said to me, if you eat another mountain sport, you'll go to jail and everybody will hate you, I would stop eating them. Because they do taste delicious, but they don't taste as good as a young boy does and shouldn't.
These days, my problem is very simple. It's trying to find a place in my house where I can masturbate without somebody bothering me. And that's getting really difficult.
He even dresses like a pig. And to discuss the cultural fallout and why Louis C.K. got a pass from the elites for as long as he did, I'm joined here by Raymond Arroyo. He's a lead anchor of EWTN News, and in New York, conservative columnist and best-selling author, old friend of mine, Ann Coulter. Great to see both of you. Ann, let's start with you. Everyone that I know who's familiar with the comedic world knew about Harvey Weinstein, and they knew about this Louis C.K. Is it surprising to you that they covered for him for this long?
That isn't surprising. What is actually the most surprising to me, I almost don't want to point out how many of the creepy sexual predators that are being outed right now are self-righteous liberals, because I mean, I'm more offended at what they've done to women than their politics, but the feminists and all of this, concern for sexual harassment for such a long time has been sort of a single-edged sword. It was something that would only be deployed against conservatives and Republicans. And so I got to say, I'm really heartened that it's the left going after the left here, and they actually do care about sexual harassment and sexual predation. I mean, this is a lot more than harassment. Rape has been alleged, obviously, in Harvey Weinstein's case. Oh, wow, what a surprise. They actually do care about rape and the dignity of women, because I got to say, for 20 years, there was very little evidence of that. It seemed to be deployed in a very political way, as, for example, against your boss, Clarence Thomas, which I didn't believe, and the country
think of what they said about him and what's being alleged here. Raymond, I want to talk about the work of these artists, as they're called. The connection between what they produce in the entertainment community and the conduct they're accused of.
Anyone who's seen, even casually, Louis C.K.'s act or Louis C.K.'s act knows these things are routinely part of the act. Exposing yourself. You heard the bit about child molestation. Why that's funny in any way, I don't know. But this pernicious nastiness, it normalizes this behavior. And the more you hear it, the more people who have this disposition or are perverts hear this and go, oh, well, I'm not alone. This is really cruel. And in this case, we're hearing about these women who've come forward. He exposed himself to them. He did unspeakable things that I'm not going to get into now. But he only was a pervert and acted and had misdeeds with one or two of these women. But in his work, he was perverted to millions of people.
Let's play this scene.
That's the double sin in my world.
Right. Let's play this scene, Ann and Raymond. This is a rape scene in his show that was on FX for years. Let's watch.
What are you gonna go?
Look, no, it's okay. I just.
Okay. Well, bye now.
Pamela.
No, bye. Bye now.
Pamela. I just want to.
I'm really late for not being in here right now.
We're going to play the whole thing. I watched this earlier, Ann. I am blissfully unaware of the man's performances.
Lucky
and
you.
I never found him funny. I found him to be a slob. He's obviously a leftist. That's not his real sin. But what we just saw, and it goes on and on and on. Just watching it. It seems the word degenerate really needs to be brought back into the vernacular because it's just a pure degenerate. Pure. We're going to get into the Roy Moore issue as well because there's another allegation from a long time ago. But Ann, when you watch that and you think of all the things that we see, whether on billboards, in music lyrics, the ho word, the N word, I mean, this is a depravity that crosses almost every cultural product and the entire landscape in different ways. But everyone's like, oh, isn't this funny? This is so edgy, as the correspondence chairman of the dinner said.
Yes, I had not seen that scene. It's kind of surprising, and I think the New York Times pointed this out in their article today. It's kind of surprising that it's so on the nose. I mean, he does a lot of him masturbating in these shows. You'd think you'd stay away from that if that's what you're actually doing off camera. But I do find, I mean, between Harvey Weinstein and Louis C.K., this desire to force people to watch you masturbate pointlessly. I mean, other than the Republican Congress, I've never heard of this as being an attractive pursuit in life.
Well, Raymond, there's another clip that we have to play from Barack Obama. And Jon Stewart also. But let's hear from Barack Obama what he thinks of this talent.
I think Louis is terrific.
Oh boy, he just made his life.
No,
he just made his life.
Mean, he's wonderful in such a self-deprecating but edgy kind of way. I mean, and basically good-hearted even when he's saying stuff that's pretty wrong.
Okay, I had not seen that before until today. Raymond, that was after the retard comment about Sarah Palin. He apologized for some of that stuff, but then he said other horrible stuff about Palin.
And after the show, with these outrageous scenes where he's inflicting himself upon a woman, talking about masturbation.
But this is the left. They claim to be for women and children, but women and children are objectified.
But why is this funny?
And why is this funny in any way, shape, or form? And I want to get into the deal with Roy Moore, because this broke as well today. He's the Senate candidate. He's he bested Luther Strange in that Jeff Sessions seat runoff. He is a Christian conservative. He's a firebrand, former Supreme Court judge in Alabama. And now this allegation comes 38, 39 years ago that he had a sexual encounter with a 14-year-old girl. He claims this is a hit job. This is the Clinton machine or someone smearing him. What is your take on this at this point in this story?
Well, I guess I'd like to hear his response more than just that it's fake news. I think we ought to give them 24 or 48 hours to respond and see where it goes. I mean, I'm sort of frustrated all around with that Alabama primary. What was the matter with Mo Brooks?
That's who I liked.
Yeah, me too. We both endorsed him. Yeah, he was been in the House all this time. He's fantastic on immigration, the one issue that matters. Why did it have to be between, you know, establishmentarian Luther Strange, who will, you know, open borders, or Roy Moore? So I'm frustrated from the beginning on that. As for, if you haven't read the Washington Post article, to the viewers, they will be talking about how there are all these women coming forward. No, there's one. There is one allegation of a woman. I mean, yes, he dated girls who were 17, 19 when he was 30. We might find that a little creepy today, but this was nearly 50 years ago. The one serious allegation is a woman, at the time, she was 14 years old, who claims, you know, actual molestation. And who knows? I'd like to see what his response is. But you can't help thinking about the timing here, Laura.
Yeah,
I mean, he's been big news
he's been
in
out
Alabama.
in the public eye for a long time, man. I mean, and Draymond, I'll let you have the last word on it.
All I would say is he has denied all these allegations so far. If any of them prove to be true, he's got to step aside. Just like
he's going to be on the ticket.
Goodbye.
But he has to step aside, but he can't.
His name's on the ballot.
Because his name's on the ballot, and so they're going to have to just write in someone, right? Or that's
the reason the media loves this story is he's a hypocrite.
Not.
If this is true, he's a hypocrite. In the case of Louis C.K.,
forget
just
hypocrite,
confirming
he's a creep.
what they expect.
And what?
I'd say forget hypocrite. He's a creep. And
as for predator, if it's the truth, he was a predator.
If it's true,
only one time.
Right.
If it's true, he's a predator.
Who cares about the hypocrisy thing? But also, who cares about what the rules and laws are for when a Republican can replace him? No, I'm sorry. The Democrats replaced Robert Torricelli when he was running for Senate, not because they found out anything new about him. He was the same person he had always been, but because his poll numbers were down. It was past the time they could legally replace him. So no. I think they should, if this turns out to be true, they should replace him with Mo Brooks.
Oh, well, Mo Brooks. That's a guy I endorse, and he didn't go anywhere.